Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and we're going to do a little bit of viewer mail. Now, one thing that has happened, we tend to focus on fall camp about certain things. Certain things pop. We're going to talk about Jackson Dart, which we did in this episode with Aiden Williams, Trey Harris, Zachary Franklin, Caden Prescorn, Michael Trigg. All of those are going to pop off the tape. And we didn't talk about defensive players because until full pads go on, it's kind of difficult for players to flash. Now, in a 7-on-7, they might make an unbelievable interception or something like that. But once defense and real football starts being played, you will have players start to flash. Now, you have Ladarius Tennyson, who has apparently moved to linebacker per Chuck Rounsaville. And I don't know if that's the hybrid position or if he's playing true linebacker next to like Monty Montgomery. Now, is this a question to maybe Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste isn't performing as well as you think? Or is it just something where you wanted to find the perfect place to put a player like Ladarius Tennyson? We'll have to find out. We won't find out until Mercer, honestly. Whenever you look at the participation chart and the snap counts of players, and you look at exactly what goes on, you can work out the rotation at that point. Because this is the deep, dark secret that people don't tell you. It doesn't matter where you are. There's about 50 players on the roster that get an abundance of playing time. Anything below that, it's almost negligible. So on an 85 scholarship roster, if you take in the fact that these are the people that are playing for you, these are the people that you are developing, because that's what they're for, developing. You can see why they recruit the way they do, why they hit the transfer portal the way they do, why their roster construction rules might not make sense at times. Because recruiting to the 85 is a different story than recruiting to the 25. And with the transfer portal and everything going on, should be quite interesting indeed. I got off on a little bit of rant right there, but we'll start off. It's like David Gibson, 1970, from the Discord server. How has Prescorn looked in camp? Now, he hasn't necessarily flashed where he got a ton of people's attention, but I heard that he is playing very well. Lane Kiffin talked about him being elected to the leadership council almost immediately. He is ranked as a John Mackey watch list candidate for the best tight end in the country. He was a semifinalist last year. I think he's going to be fine. I think him being fine was a little bit of the reason for the Michael Trigg thing yesterday or 2 days ago. And that all kind of works together. But Prescorn being in the offense and being around what's going on means that Michael Trigg is a lottery ticket. He has that all-world potential. He has all of that potential. But if it doesn't get tapped, you have this player that can do some really good things. And also because of what he just went through, you have Kyron Heath that's getting valuable reps with the 2s and 1s at the moment. So that's pretty good. I mean, I'm hearing decent things about Caden Prescorn right now. Other question is, I feel good about Caden Costa returning as a very reliable field goal kicker, but punting was less than ideal last year. Do you think we could see some improvements from Frazier Mason or Charlie Pollock? I imagine Kiffin has more confidence in the defense. He will punt more often on 4th down. Okay, there's kind of a lot to unpack here. Specialists right now that I'm hearing would be Caden Costa doing the place kicks, Caden Davis, the transfer from Texas A&M, doing the kickoffs, Frazier Mason doing the punts. Now, at the end of last year, punting was a problem. It just was. Punting was an absolute problem at the end of last season. Frazier Mason has to improve. I think he will. Now, one thing to remember about Mason, he is a former Australian rules football player, which means he is very good and very natural at punting. Maybe we see the advent of rugby-style punting returning to Ole Miss. But all I know is 32 yards of punt and 3.5 seconds of hang time is not going to cut it in the punting game. Now, I do think we are going to punt the ball a little bit more this year because I think he's going to have confidence in the defense. And I think the offense is going to allow us to do it. He's not going to feel like he has to score a touchdown every play because the offense is good enough. We'll get it more of a we'll get them next time type mentality. So we'll see. I think anything over 4th and 4 might be tricky. Below that was like, how many 4th downs last year were dropped by Casey Kelly? Now this isn't about Casey Kelly. This is just about receivers that actually affected what we do, and we still went for it. So I don't know if this is hey, this is just our DNA type thing, or we're going to play real football eventually type thing. That I'm not 100% sure about. So we'll see. I mean, as long as Lane Kiffin doesn't call the game like he did against Texas Tech, I'm going to be okay. I don't care if he gets stopped on 4th down. That's going to happen from time to time. I like that. I care if he's going for every 4th down when he's just trying not to punt. That I do care about that. So we'll see exactly what happens as well. Now, I do want to let you know our Discord server right now has been created. It's about a week old at this point, I guess. The link is down in the description. You can join it. Now, people that might go to the Discord server that's been around message boards, it might be a little bit intimidating at first. But if you stick with it and learn how to do it, it is threadable and things like that you're used to. You can make it kind of look like you're familiar, but it does function like a chat type server. We do a decent job of farming out trolls. People are going to join during open enrollment to, I don't know, try and get a reaction out of me. That's the reason during this period it's 0 tolerance. But during the football season, I don't know if we'll be more lenient, but once we have a good grasp on who exactly is there, we can exactly do that as well. So join the Discord group. It's open. We do Discord live every Tuesday night as part of basically our brand. Last 2 nights ago, we did it. It was actually pretty fantastic. We've done over an hour. Both times we've done Discord live. We never got to 30 minutes hardly doing Twitter spaces. So we're pretty fired up about what is becoming. The attendance has been really good, but it's just been a fun way to bring over different ideas because we're all about commentary and perspective on this channel. Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. Everydayers coming up on the show. Brad Logan is going to stop by talking fall camp. David Eckert is going to stop by. He is the Clarion